This video today, it's going to be basically about the content creation setup that I took on my trip to Italy. So I did 61 days on the road and it was just under 3,000 kilometers and I had the full kind of setup for content creation. Okay, first things first, we got the drone. So this is a Mavic Air 2 from DJI and I got it for £320 from MPB, which is a second-hand gear website. So this does everything I need except for vertical shooting. So it's when the gimbal can turn vertically and it can do portrait videos that I can put on short form content. But otherwise it does 4K 60 FPS video, does slow-mo, and it can do active tracking. So it can film me when I'm moving on the bike, which is ideal. I only did one shot like that because I have big drone anxiety when I'm flying. Even though I have all the certifications to fly in Europe and Italy, I'm registered with their aviation authority and I can seal the no-fly zones. Even then, I'm still kind of anxious because you hear all kinds of crazy stories of people getting fined, but that's generally people breaking the rules. But long story short, this drone is 570 grams. A drone under 250 grams comes with a lot less hassle. You can fly in a lot more places. I'm going to get a Mini 3 Pro or a Mini 4 Pro. Either one of those, the Mini 3 will be second hand because it's discontinued, and then the Mini 4 will be new and they ain't going to be cheap. I'll see what I can do. I'm just putting it off because, you know, they're expensive. But if it means they're going to fly more and get better footage and more of it, you know, it's a no-brainer really for me. So next we've got the GoPro. So this is a Hero 10. Action camera, waterproof, and I've got a mount for it. So I can whack it on the top of here and then this can clamp to pretty much anything, you know, that's that diameter. So it can clamp onto the handlebars of the bike and I can film as I'm riding. And this is quite maneuverable, so you can just, you know, bend it to get the angle that you want. Of course it makes a very squeaky noise. I took it in the sea with me, so it's probably salted up. But it's a good setup. Would I buy the GoPro again? The only reason I wouldn't, I'd say, is because of the audio. The audio cuts out quite a bit, and to be able to get better audio, you need to buy a media mod. So you have to take this cap off and an £80 addition to the camera, and it's no longer waterproof. And then even then, you have to attach a microphone to that to even get better audio. So I'd say I'd probably go with the Osmo Action 3 or that kind of series from DJI. I've said that before, and I still kind of stick by that. The footage that comes off this is quite good. It's definitely not as good as the camera, and I do notice it, as most of you will probably as well. It has its use case because it's when I'm traveling on the bike at high speeds, I'm not going to be fumbling with the camera and potentially falling off. This thing has fallen off a few times, it's been bashed up, and it's still doing well. So I'm happy with it, and I'll keep taking it with me. Okay, so we're moving on to the camera now. So I'm actually filming on the camera, so you can't see it right here. This is just a bag, of course. So I got a Panasonic GH5 with a 12 to 60mm Leica lens, both second hand from the same website I got the drone. I got them for around £850, I think. Cameras can be very expensive, and I wanted one that was, you know, a bit old, a bit cheaper, but could still do what I wanted. So it can do video, photo, and comes out crisp. Like it's so nice. There's a lot that can be done with the settings of this camera, and I still haven't really delved into it. I'm still probably getting a handle on the basics. But on the first portion of the trip I did, so 61 days in Italy, I took almost 10,000 photos on it, and I've kind of whittled that down to around 1,200 now that I want to bring forward and put into like a photo book. And yeah, very good quality coming from the camera. It can do a JPEG and then a RAW file export. So the RAW file, it kind of saves the photo sometimes. It doesn't have the distortion of the JPEG from the lens, and yeah, it just needs a lot more work in color grading. Okay, so last of all for filming, so I got the phone. So this is a iPhone 13 mini. It's 512 gigabytes of storage, and it wasn't cheap. It was a refurbished phone, and I think I got it for £600 from Apple. I've probably been absolutely hustled there, but you know, it works well for me and it's pretty reliable. So I'm happy with that. I take mostly portrait videos on it, so I take the videos that I'm going to put in a video diary for the day, and I'd splice the clips together in CapCut, and then I'd do a voiceover and I'd upload that daily just to give a progress update. So it's very useful, of course, like a phone, just being able to whack it out and take videos. I do landscapes sometimes, but you know, if I can use the camera, I'd use that, and then when I'm on the bike, I use the GoPro. So the landscape has its times, and it's just very useful just to be able to whack out and film a clip. So for editing on the phone, I'd use CapCut for short form videos. I just found it was most suited to that kind of thing. And then for long form, I do probably 1 video a week, and I do it on Adobe Rush just because the color grading was a bit more intuitive on there and a bit more thorough. And then the layering on the timeline was a lot more easier to do. Like if you wanted to layer audio, like dissolve one clip into the other so you don't hear a big, buffer between the clips, it was a lot easier to do on Adobe Rush, so I'd recommend it for that, definitely. On the camera, I have a Rode Video Go 2 shotgun mic. So that was £80 on Amazon, and it's pretty good. It can connect to my phone as well with a separate cable. And I just do some voiceovers on that sometimes if there's a lot of noise in the background. But the thing is with this microphone is it picks up my voice very well in this room now when there's nothing else, going on. But if I'm doing a clip by the roadside and there's cars driving by, you can just hear the cars, and the background noise is a big hum. Put it out for a bit. And I need to get the short video out because I didn't do it last night. Yeah. You can kind of get rid of that in post-production in, like whatever software you use. So you can use denoise in Adobe Premiere Pro. And it will kind of solve the problem, but then again, you can still kind of hear it. And it makes it a bit more tinny. It makes the voice sound very tinny sometimes. So I got some wireless microphones. So this is the DJI Mic Mini. It's quite a new product, I think in the last month or so. And it's half the price of their DJI Mic 2 because I couldn't justify spending £300 on a wireless microphone. But these are perfect. These are very small and they can clip to your shirt with the magnet on it. So just like this, slide it off. It goes on the shirt like that. And you get, for £164, you get 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, and for £20 extra, included in that 164, you get a lightning port connection for the phone, so you can connect it to your iPhone. It's so annoying getting punished for having an old iPhone. It comes with a USBC one, so that's included, but you had to pay extra for that. Damn iPhone one. But I'm excited to try this out. It's going to be a lot more focused audio. So if I'm by the roadside in a cafe, in a place where there's a lot of noise, or when I'm far away from the camera, like I'm on the other side of the room, this is going to be very useful in that sense for salvaging some audio. With all those cameras and recording devices, you're going to need a lot of storage. So I had quite a few SanDisks, SSDs. So I had around 700 gig of small SD cards, and I got them in this protector case, just got to protect that valuable stuff. So with that, I'd be able to put the SD cards into this adapter, and then this could plug into my phone. Again, being punished for this damn Apple Lightning cable. But this thing was, I can't remember, £20 maybe. But it transfers very quickly, so I can just offload the footage into the phone and then it can be backed up on iCloud. The problem with having it just on the small SD cards is that they can be corrupted quite easily. I'd never have it happen to me, but I see stories of all these videographers, photographers that lose footage just because they kept it on those cards. So I'd rather just, have it backed up on here, and this is quite a cheap way of doing that. So yeah, that worked quite well. And then onto data, so internet while I'm out there. So I have a 35 gig a month plan with Libera, and I pay £1.90 a month for the first 6 months, and then after that 6 months I pay £9. So I got that deal on Money Saving Expert's website, Martin Lewis, and it's a cracker of a deal because I can use 30 gigabytes of that in roaming in the EU at no extra cost. So that was absolutely perfect for me. I used the 30 gigabytes, pretty much all of it, and it got me through the entire month. I would also be at cafes where I'd use the internet sometimes, or hotels, Airbnbs, hostels, and most of the time I'd be uploading it directly from this. But I would do a progress video every day that was roughly 1 to 3 minutes, and I'd upload that 3 times. So that was onto YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And then roughly once a week I'd do a 5 to 10 minute video, which is like a long form video on my YouTube. And I'd always upload that on the internet because, you know, it's quite a big file. But yeah, 30 gig got me through the month. If you're going to be out on the road every day and not stay at hotels, Airbnbs, anything, you're probably going to need a bit more if you're going to be doing the same thing. But I'd say that'd probably get you by. One problem that came about is a fair use policy. Most people will have this in their phone contracts. I need to be using my data more in the UK than I do in roaming. That's the fair use. About 4 days before I was about to leave, so after 65 days in Italy, I got an email basically saying I'm exceeding that fair use policy and I'm going to be charged extra for using my data in the EU. So that was very annoying, but fortunately it was just at the end of my trip and I didn't need to use any more anyways. So I managed to come back home and it's been fine. I'm now just a bit worried that if I go back out there for the second leg to do southern Italy, within the first few days it's going to tell me the same thing. I'm hoping it's going to give me that 2-month grace period because I would have been in the UK for 3 months and then I'm going back out. So hopefully it does that for me. If not, I'm going to have to get an eSIM. It's not the end of the world, but £1.90 for 30 gig of data a month is an absolute steal. So thanks to Libra for that. So lastly, we got two 20,000 milliamp in-ear power banks. I carried these just because, you know, I'd be out camping a lot away from power sockets and things like that. I'd only ever do 3 days maximum camping, so 3 nights. And I'd charge my phone and then my Garmin bicycle computer every night and my bike lights occasionally. And one of these power banks got me through 2 nights. And then after that, the 4th night, I'd generally spend in accommodation and I'd charge all the batteries for my kit there. So I had 3 batteries for the camera, 3 for the GoPro, and then 2 for the drone. And I charged the power banks back up. I'd say when I go back out this next time in March, I'm going to be using my drone a lot more. So I can see myself getting to the 2nd power bank by just charging the drone batteries, just because I want to be getting a lot more shots. There's no point going to all those beautiful places and not capturing it properly. So when I'd stay in accommodation, I'd charge all my stuff back up with this. It's a power socket plug I got off Amazon. Got detachable heads that you can put for the socket of the country you're in. So this one's just for the EU. And it's got 3 USB-C sockets in the back and then 1 USB-A. The top 2 are 100 watt and then you got 20 watt and 18. So it pretty much just charged all my stuff back up to new completely. And it wouldn't take long at all, which was nice. So that's pretty much it for the content creation setup. So that's from all the stuff I use to record, to storage, and then editing, and then the data plan I had to be able to, you know, upload stuff on internet out there, and then charging stuff back up with the power banks and then the socket. So if there's anything you think I missed or you got questions on, just let me know. But that setup worked really well for me. I'm going to be doing the same thing when I go back. But as I said, I'm probably going to upgrade the drone, and that's probably about it. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao!